Ave Maria, brothers and sisters. Thank you for joining our Mother and Refuge of the End Times. Today we would like to share with you part 5 of a 7-part article written by Mark Mallett for his blog, The Now Word, published on his website, markmallett.com, on January 5th, 2022. He writes, The Satanic Long Game. All this is the fruit of a Masonic agenda that germinated over 400 years ago during the Enlightenment period, and that has slowly displaced faith in God with faith in man. Quote, progress and science have given us the power to dominate the forces of nature, warned Pope Benedict XVI. Quote, we don't realize we are reliving the same experience as Babel, end quote. He visited this general theme in his first encyclical letter, entitled Spe Salvi. He wrote, this programmatic vision has determined the trajectory of modern times. Francis Bacon, 1561 to 1626, and those who followed in the intellectual current of modernity that he inspired, were wrong to believe that man would be redeemed through science. Such an expectation asks too much of science. This kind of hope is deceptive. Science can contribute greatly to making the world and mankind more human, yet it can also destroy mankind and the world unless it is steered by forces that lie outside it. End quote. Yes, we are told all is being done, quote, for the common good. Mandatory rules, restrictions, impositions, masking, lockdowns, it's all for the, quote, common good. And we must simply believe and comply. But this is a deception. It is ultimately geared toward what the United Nations and global leaders are calling the Great Reset. It involves the near-complete collapse of the present order in order to, quote, build back better. But this time, without the Judeo-Christian religion. Only a true fool or true pawn would continue to lock down healthy populations, causing mass inflation and the destruction of the supply chain. Again, this too is straight out of the Masonic playbook. In his encyclical on Freemasonry dated April 20th, 1884, entitled Humanum Genus, Pope Leo XIII wrote, that which is their ultimate purpose forces itself into view, namely the utter overthrow of that whole religious and political order of the world which the Christian teaching has produced, and the substitution of a new state of things in accordance with their ideas, of which the foundations and laws shall be drawn from mere naturalism. It is simply global communism in a green hat. In a message to Gisela Cardia on November 7th, 2020, Our Lady said, as you can see, this is a time of great confusion. When evil is hiding behind false disguises, you will need to pay attention. Walk together with Jesus and nourish yourselves with his word for your salvation. Children, my little ones, they will try to make you believe that everything is being done for your good, but that is exactly where the temptation of the devil is hiding. Discern. To Luz de Maria Bonilla, on April 20th, 2018, Our Lady said, communism has not waned. It resurfaces in the midst of this great confusion on earth and great spiritual distress. Communism has not left humanity, but has disguised itself in order to continue against my people. In my book, The Final Confrontation, there is a section called The Dragon Appears, Sophistry. Under that heading, I quoted our Lord who said, he was a murderer from the beginning. He is a liar and the father of lies. John 8, verse 44. In the Book of Wisdom we read, by the envy of the devil, death came into the world, and they follow him that are of his side. the Book of Wisdom, chapter 2, verses 24 and 25. We have witnessed a profound season of sophistries, beginning with the ideology that science will save us, that we must blindly, quote, follow the science, quote, trust the data, quote, flatten the curve, quote, take the vaccine, etc. In that regard, the mass media has become an indispensable mouthpiece of this satanic program. We just observed the memorial of St. Elizabeth Ann Seton. It is hard not to recall a vision attributed to her in the 1800s when she saw, quote, in every American home a black box through which the devil would enter, end quote. Several decades ago, many thought she was referring to television sets, but back then, televisions were wooden boxes with gray screens. Today, every home, if not every room, has a true black box, a computer, smartphone, or smart TV, through which Satan has gained a foothold to sow this, quote, strong delusion, using the, quote, pretended signs and wonders of technology. In a documentary called Planet Lockdown, Dr. Wolfgang Wodardt, PhD, said, "Those people watching television now, they are brainwashed every day. They are brainwashed by the newspapers, by the media, and if they are not critically searching the internet for alternative information, they believe what they are told. Even if they have a doubt, their colleagues at work say, 'You're not vaccinated?' I knew something was terribly wrong when I observed the fanatical blowback to anyone who dared question the safety of these cocktails. That culminated in my article, The Pandemic of Control, that exposes the lies and tares that have trailed this industry. In other words, the preparation for this present satanic hour has been long in the making, over a century, since the Rockefeller family's wealth was used to flip great portions of mankind from using naturopathic to allopathic medicine, from using God's creation to heal bodies, to chemicals to treat symptoms. Quote, "The Lord created medicines from the earth, and a sensible man will not despise them." Sirach 38, verse 4. After World War II, the very scientists who once worked in Hitler's labs and concentration camps, and who worked under Rockefeller's merger standard IG Farben, became integrated into U.S. government programs to advance, in part, pharmaceutical, quote, medicines, and the giant corporations who would sell them. Of note is the occultism in the Nazi Party that drove, in part, the horrific, quote, scientific experiments on humans that involved testing vaccines and drugs, experiments that have clearly not ended and nor have the camps. What has been the fruit of humanity's wholesale rejection of the Lord's medicines in nature? According to a Harvard study, quote, about 128,000 people die from drugs prescribed to them. This makes prescription drugs a major health risk, ranking fourth with stroke as a leading cause of death. The European Commission estimates that adverse reactions from prescription drugs cause 200,000 deaths. So together, about 328,000 patients in the US and Europe die from prescription drugs each year. This taken from an article written by Donald W. Light on June 27, 2014, entitled New Prescription Drugs, a Major Health Risk with Few Offsetting Advantages. He was a murderer from the beginning. He is a liar and the father of lies. Given all the papal and Marian warnings of the past century, it is not without warrant to consider that the, quote, final solution being carried out in our era is precisely what St. John said in the book of Revelation. Quote, "Your merchants were the great men of the earth. All nations were led astray by your magic potion." Revelations 18, verse 23. The Greek for magic potion, pharmakeia, is the use of medicine, drugs, or spells. It is the word from which we derive the term pharmaceuticals. 2,000 years ago, St. John foresaw that drugs and medicines would be used to enslave mankind under a powerful group of men, quote, the 10 kings, who would rule for 1 hour together with the beast, end quote. Please join us again for part 6 of Mark Mallett's timely article, in which he discusses the mark. Brothers and sisters, let us answer our Heavenly Mother's request to share heaven's messages far and wide. Please share, like, subscribe, and click on the little bell so that you may be notified of the latest heavenly messages as they come in. Did you wish you could say your prayers before the Blessed Sacrament? Well, now you can. Please join us to adore our Lord live from the Divine Mercy Center in Calgary, Canada. This also includes the Divine Mercy Chaplet and Litany before the Most Blessed Sacrament of the Altar in our channel's 24/7 prayer room titled Divine Mercy Adoration. May God bless you abundantly.